Hello, welcome to today's video. So in today's video, I'm going to take you through starting your first Django app. So if you are new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe and like this video for more videos in this channel. So I'm on my desktop and first of all, I want to open my command prompt. So inside my command prompt, let's make sure we have Django installed in our system. If you have it installed in your system, you don't have to do this. And if you don't have it installed, install using this function pip install Django. So I click on enter. As you can see, requirements already satisfied. So it means I've already installed Django in my system already. So now that I have Django installed in my system, now the next thing is to move to our desktop and create a new folder. So to move our desktop, we use cd desktop. So now we are on our desktop. So let's create a new folder on our desktop using make directory mkdir simply means make directory. So name of our folder, so let's say first Django app. Let's click on enter. As you can see, we have our newly created folder here, which is empty, which is okay because we've not done anything inside yet. So inside our new folder, let's create our first project inside our new folder. So how do we do that? First, we need to enter into the folder by using the same cd name of the folder first Django app. Now we are inside our folder, so Django admin, then start project. So the name of our project, and I want to name my project, let's say first project. You can name it anyhow you want, but I want to call it first project. So one thing is you can click on enter right away, but when you click on enter, Django is going to create duplicate folder here. So let me click on enter anyway so that you see it how it goes. So our folder is created. You can open that new folder. You see we have the project named first project as we stated on the command prompt. You open it again, another folder inside which is first project. So what Django did is Django was imagining you didn't create a folder already, so it created a fresh folder for you, name my first project, and created your project inside it. So we don't want that. So let's delete it and create it again. So delete. As you can see, our folder is empty now. Now let's come back and repeat the same thing. Type the same thing. Django admin, start project, the name of our project. But this time around, instead of clicking enter straight, click on space bar, then you click on dot. Django admin, start project, the name of your project, which is first project, space, one space, then dot. Then click on enter. Now our project is created. Now let's open and see the difference. Now as we open it, now we can only see one folder. Initially it was two folders. When we open it, another folder is there, but right now we have only one project folder which is created, my first project, which is fine. So we are good to go. So now that we are inside our folder, let's take a look at some of the things in our folder. So Let's look at the project folder. We have the init function, init Python file here, and the init Python means the folder. This folder right here is a package which allow us to import any modules from this package into another module. Then we have the settings, we have the ASGI, we have the URLs, we have the WSGI. WSGI simply means web server gateway interface. Web server gateway interface. And this helps us to establish interface between our application and web service. We have the URLs here. We have the settings. URLs is for creating URL. For example, you have maybe home. You are navigating. Maybe you want to go to home / maybe admin / about or whatever. Just for creating URLs here. We have our settings module here as well for creating packages, and we have our manage here, which is for managing our project or our app. So good to go. So now that we have our project installed in our folder, now let's check if it is successful. So type python manage.py. So what are we doing? We want to run our project on a development server. So python manage.py run server with no space. Python manage.py run server. And what is the manage.py? This file which is inside here. That is what we are going to use to run the server. So click on enter. So as you can see, Django 4.03 using settings, first project settings, starting development server at this local port. So let's copy it. So let's copy this and run it on our web. So right here, I want to paste it here. Click on enter. So here is our first Django interface. So the installation worked successfully. Congratulations. The Python we are using is the Django we are using is 4.0. So this is the default interface that comes with Django. So what we want to do is we want to change this default interface and put our own interface there. So how do we do that? Let's end our server using Ctrl+C. So we break our server. So inside our Django lab, let's create a new app inside the project folder. So what this means is that we have our project folder and we need an app folder in it as well, which helps us to create an application. So the Django app, Python manage.py, then start app. Then my name of your name of the app. So let's say we want to name it first app. Python manage.py start app, then the name of your app. And I want to name the app first app. You can name anyhow you want as well. So I click on enter. So our app is created successful. Let's check into our folder. So we have a newly folder created here. My first app. We have these migrations. You get to understand these migrations as we move on. We have the init function as well, which means this is a package. We have the admin file here as well, and it's used to define how the administrator or the administration management panel of this app look like. Then we have the apps here, This one is used to install all our configuration for this app. Then we have our modules. This is where we create modules for our app. Module is more like how our app will look like. Then we have our test. This is for simply for automation. We have our views. This one defines what the user see when they navigate through our pages. So we are good to go. Then we have the migration. So now let's open our folder in the code editor. I'm going to use Visual Studio Code. You can use any code editor, be it PyCharm or whatever. So I want to open it inside my code editor. So let's wait, it's loading. So yes, I trust. So here's my freshly opened code editor right here. So here we have our installed app here, and we have this our app, first app. Then we have our project, and this is the default database that comes with this Django, which is the SQLite 3 right here. So inside my app, let's open our first app, and inside our let's open our views. So inside our views, we want to create our first app, our first page. So from Django.shortcut import render, which is fine. So create your views here. So under this, you want to create our views. Like I said, the views defines what the user see when they navigate through our pages. So as we open our web page, Django came with a default web page, and we don't want that page. We want to create our own page. So we are going to define the new page we want to create. So right here, let's say we want to create a home page. So maybe let's say define, maybe the name of our page is home. So inside here, we type request, then return render, open a folder, then request again, then the name, maybe we want home dot, we want to create our home page as home.html, sorry, html. So we will define home and request here. So we will just return the request, and we return the home as an HTML file, which is home.html. We return the render, which we imported here from Django.shortcut import render. So we return the render here. So that's all this about. So now that we return our home page as home.html, let's quickly go into our app. We open our app folder and create that home.html file, which we returned from the home page. So click on this new folder. I want to name the folder as home, the file as home. Sorry, we are creating a folder. So we are creating a folder called templates. Click on enter, and inside the template, we are creating our file. Then this is the home.html. Home.html, yeah. So let's get some starter code here. Exclamation. So I've got my new starter HTML code here, and let's type something inside. So let's say we have h1 tag. Let's say my first app. So we are not going to see anything yet. So first of all, we have to go inside the views. Yeah. Now that inside the views here, we've returned our home page as home.html, and now we've created the HTML which we returned here. So from there, let's go into our project folder. So now we are inside our app. Yeah. So let's open our project, for which is the first project. And inside the first project, let's go inside the settings. And you can see Django settings for project, for first project, generated by Django admin start project, what we use to install the project. But this is not needed, but you can still leave it anyway. So inside the setting, what basically means is right here we used to allow host. We are going to look at this in the future. But right now we are focusing on the installed apps. What does the install apps do? What the install apps do is you use it to install applications. And what are applications? For example, this is our project. And inside every project, you can create as many applications as you want. Let's say you want to create an application for school management system. Maybe you want an application that manage school data. You want application that manage school library system. So inside your project folder, you can store many applications as you want. So right now we are working on only one application, which is the first app here. So we want to install the first app inside the project. So inside here, come down, click on get your quote, then the name of your app you are going to store, which is first app. That's the name of our app, first app. First app, then you bring the comma. So we've installed our app successfully now. So let's get back into our URLs. So inside our URLs here, it read first project URL configuration, the URL patterns list, add or import. These are some few instructions here. Add or import from app, import views. So these are examples. So here we have some few things import here as well. And we have here URL patterns. So this is where we create our URLs. And there is a default URL here, which is the admin and admin side.urls. We are going to look at this later. This is the part for managing your admin panel, which is a default path which comes with Django automatically. So right now we want to create a new path. So we'll look at this later. So let's say our path will be our home page. So let's say path. Inside the path, bring the quote, because this is a home page. You don't have to put anything inside here. Here we have an admin page, which means if you want to access this page, if you go to your local server, you need to bring /admin before you can access this page. But because this is our home page, we want such a way that when we open our home page, the first page pop up straight. We don't want to go to /any URL before we get to this. So this is why this is empty. Then here we have views.home. Why views.home? Because in our views, inside our views file, we've created the home page and we return it. So that's why we have the views.home here. So comma, then the name is equal to, so let's say this is home, our name is home as well. And now that we've created our path, we need to import it here. So from first app, import views, because inside our views we've created the home page. So to be able to import the home that we've created, we need to import it from the first app. So that is from first app, import views right here. So now let's go to our terminal. Let's wait, it's loading away. Okay, it's taking time. Okay, so now the same thing as we type in the command prompt, python manage .py run server. As you can see, we're having some error here, syntax error, views.home. So let's check what is wrong there. Okay, I think we made a mistake. Supposed to be name, we didn't bring the equal to sign there. So let's run it again. So now it's successful. So now Django 4.0.3 using first project settings started development server at this port. So let's go to this port and let's refresh. So now now we've changed the default page which came with Django to our own HTML page. This our own HTML page. This is our first HTML page we created. We've created an h1 tag with the name my first app. So when you came here, that is what appeared here, my first app. So I want to right now, let's end the server for now. Now I want to put some HTML file here for us to be able to connect CSS and see if it's working. So I want to copy this HTML file here. This is CSS rather. Okay. I want to paste it. So let's run our server again. Come back here, refresh. So this is the HTML file that I just pasted. So we've not added CSS here. So this is raw HTML which looks like that. So let's add a CSS to it. So to add a CSS, what do? Go into the app folder, and inside the app folder, this is our app folder. So we create a new folder and we name it static. So what static does is help us to load CSS in Django. So inside our static folder, we create a new file. Okay, let's create our CSS folder. Maybe CSS, and inside our CSS, we create our CSS file. So grid 2.css. So it's empty now. So because the name of my CSS I use for these pages, grid2.css, so I need to make it the same so that this can look for it there. So inside the static folder, Django is going to look for our CSS all the time inside the static folder. So that is why it is important that we put our CSS into the static folder, because always Django will look for our CSS, our images and code inside our static folder. So let me correct the path. So this is CSS. So I want to go and copy my CSS here. So let's go into our CSS and paste it. No, I didn't copy it well. Okay, so I have my CSS. This is a CSS for the grid, the HTML I just pasted here. CSS file for it here. So now that we've added our CSS, let's come here. Let's end the server. Now you have 18 unapplied migrations. So your project may not work properly until you apply migrations. So let's apply migrations here. So how do we do that? We use just have to type Python manage.py, then migrate, manage.py migrate. So it's applying our migrations. So it's successful. And we need to, one thing you need to note is that you need to load our static. So inside here, let's come to the top here. Then we bring two double curly brackets. So inside here we say load static. So remember I said Django always looks for our CSS inside the static folder, and for this HTML file to be connected to the Django will look for the CSS inside our static file. After I found it, now how does it transport, or how does it give the CSS that I found in the static to our HTML file? It will do that by this low static that we put here. This low static is going to tell the HTML that look, Django found some CSS, or Django found some files. It can be images or anything. Django found some files inside our CSS folder. So check it and pick it. So that's what this CSS does. So now let's tell this. Now we told the HTML file to look for CSS. Now we need to also tell this to also look for it file that fit it. So here, let's say you also need to bring that curly bracket and the percentage sign. Then you bring static, then quote, then right here you need to bring quote, then static, because closing curly bracket. So it's just like this. You have the opening curly bracket with the percentage, then closing curly bracket with the percentage. But here, okay, this is static. Yeah. So because we have double quote here already, so we brought one quote here to wrap this CSS grid.css inside this quote. So now this helps the whole HTML file to look for the CSS inside the static folder. After it found it, now for the Python file to identify the CSS, this will also help it that look, there is some static which has been loaded into this. Pick it. So this, because CSS grid2.css tells us that now the static file that have been found, there is some CSS inside grid2.css. So pick that CSS. So that's what the reason why it's necessary that we bring this static here. So it's going to help it to find the CSS it gets by the load static method. So let's run it and see. So Python manage.py run server. Let's run our server. So let's go back there and let's refresh it. So as you can see now, the CSS have been applied successfully. So now we have the header, the style bar, content. This is just something I just created using the grid. So it's just something normal to just demonstrate. So if you create your Python, your file here, you can just add it here. So this is how to create our starting app. So now let's go into our URLs. Remember, I want to talk about this here. Now, reason why this is empty string. So now let's go into our browser and let's start /admin. So this is a default admin panel which comes with Django here. So now the moment we type /admin, we access the admin panel. Now if imagine I type home right here. Now let's go back to our development server in our browser. Now let's come back to the previous URL. So let's refresh it. As you can see, page not found for using the URL defined for Django these patterns in order. We are seeing error because. So let's get back into the code. Now we place home here. So if I want to access this, then it means inside the browser I need to bring like /home right here. So the moment I add /home, then I'm able to access the code right here. So this is more like the URL's destination. This helps us to locate the URL destination. So we want this to be at home page. The moment to launch application, you want this to be the first thing that pop up. So that's the reason why this is supposed to be left empty. So when we go back here and refresh it, now this doesn't exist anymore because it's taken away from the home destination. So let's clear this home and run it. Now here we go. So that's all. So today, okay, so in the future we will try and link this to a real database. We'll try and create some nice application. Right now we are just using this normal grid style to indicate how it works, how you connect it in the first place. So in the future, we are going to create a real application and link it to database and do a lot of things with it. So if you are new here, kindly subscribe to this channel because we're having a lot of surprises coming to you. So once again, thanks for watching this video and don't forget to subscribe and like. See you in the next video.